And welcome to Thursday night YouTube Live with independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. And I hope you like the project that we have tonight. I'm just going to shift my workspace over. Hello, Tracy. Thanks for joining. Hoping that, oh, I didn't want so much of that. Hang on, let's see. Hope I'm not making anybody seasick. Okay, so let's see how that looks. And then let's wait a few minutes and we'll get started. There we go. All right. Okay, let's see if I can find the video. And okay, well, maybe not. Oh, goodness. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's see if we can get the live chat up. And I'll wait for a second and see how that goes. No. Come on. Come on, YouTube. Give me the live chat, please. Hello, everyone. I see there's 3 on. So let's see if, so far I cannot get the live chat to come on. So let me go back, pull that up again. Let's see if that live chat will pop up for me. There it is. Hello, Cynthia. Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that number myself. I would love to make 1,000 subscribers. So if you're watching or you're watching on the replay, go ahead and hit that subscription button and click on the bell so you'll be notified every time I post a video and or go live. And that would be wonderful if I could make it to 1,000 subscribers. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about the 25 to 2027 in color product sale that's coming up. Stampin' Up! Has announced that beginning August 5th through the 31st, there will be 15% off select products with the 2025-2027 in colors. And the way you find that is you go to the online store and then you shop products, and then in that pop-up menu that comes up, shop by color, and then scroll down until you see the 2025 to 2027 in colors. You might have to click in colors and then 2025 to 27. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, that's kind of how you get there. So you could check that out ahead of time. Of course, the sale prices will not be reflected until August 5th. And that starts at midnight Mountain Time. So 12:01 a.m. Mountain Time, depending on which time zone you're in. For us here in the Pacific Northwest, that means 11 p.m. on the 4th. Okay. It also means that on August 31st, our sale ends 1 hour before midnight on the 31st. So keep that in mind. Don't wait till the last minute. It is while supplies last. So if you want your items, get them before they sell out. Because we all know that happens every time we have a sale. Something that we want sells out. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our card tonight. And we are going to make a card with the Rustic Centerpiece. This is a brand new release with the July online exclusives released on, I think, July 2nd, July 1st, July 2nd, somewhere in there. And then it went on back order for a bit, but it is back in stock. There are no sentiments with this particular stamp set, and it's just 3 images. They are rather large images, though, so as you can see, and they're the cling mount rubber. So good quality stamps, nice and deeply etched. And we are going to make a pretty, what I call a simple card tonight. Now, I know that many do not call my card simple, but this one actually doesn't have a whole lot to it. So let's go ahead and get started and get that going, shall we? All right. So first of all, let's go through the supplies that we need. Our sentiment is coming from the More Messages bundle. So that is 1 cling mount stamp set, which is not in here, but it's all 1 stamp. Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 sentiments on 1 stamp. And then it has a coordinating die, which if you've watched me for any length of time, you've seen that I've used this many times just as a die cut for any sentiments in my collection. So this will cut out perfectly the sentiments on this 1 stamp. Let's see, I think it goes like this. This is only at 90%, so it's not going to match up exactly here, but it does match the stamp exactly. So we'll be using that tonight. And then we're also using the textured notes dies. And I have pre-cut out of Basic Beige the second to the largest of these dies. This is also an online exclusive, and in my opinion, this is something that you need to have in your stash. So our card base is Early Espresso, and this is a standard A2 card size, 5.5 by 8.5. I've scored it at 4.25, and I am just going to give that a good burnish to hold it closed with my bone folder. Looks like I got it off just a little bit when I did that, so we can, let's fix that. Let's just fix that with our bone folder. Okay, there we go. That's better. Easy fix. And like I said, I've got that textured note die cut from Basic Beige. And then we have a piece of the Country Woods Designer Series paper. This paper has been around for quite some time, and it is all wood textures. Okay, you get 6 sheets, 2 each of 6 double-sided designs. So this piece is cut at 4 inches by 5.25. So we've got that. And then I did pull a piece of Petal Pink, and this is the 2-tone cardstock. And we're gonna, you're gonna decide whether I'm using this or not later. But let's go ahead and get stamping, because really there's not much to this card, as I said earlier. Okay, now let's see what I did with the, it's right here, it's gotta be right here. Yep, okay. So I've already pre-mounted my stamp. Now, of course, you don't have to pre-mount it. You could just put it in here. I just happen to know that I put this at 1 inch from the bottom and snugged it right up next to the side there when I did this. And then I'm going to take some Early Espresso ink. Use the stamp positioning tool for this. I just don't like the great big block that we have. I have a really hard time holding that with my thumbs. They just don't have a lot of strength in them. So I prefer a stamp positioning tool. You could use a Stamparatus or any stamp positioning tool that you have in your arsenal. I'm going to give that a second little inking because I didn't quite get what I want right there in the center of that sunflower. And oh man, that kind of double stamped. It's okay. I've got one already I didn't make sure that this was in the corner. It's okay because I do have one already stamped and ready to go. Okay, so there's that. And let's put this in here. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off really quickly with my chamois. This chamois just has water on it. It's available in my online store. All right, let's close that up, put it away. We're done with that. And bring in our Stampin' Blends and do some coloring. Now, like I said, I pre-stamped that, and I did a little bit of the coloring to save us some time. So let's bring in our Stampin' Blends here. All right, so these are our colors, and they didn't quite all fit in my container here. So I'm going to quickly, so you can take a screenshot should you choose to, take a look at those colors that I'm using tonight. So that is those. Oh, we need to slip this down a little bit further. All right, so those are the colors where we've got the natural tones. I've got the deep and the medium. This is the SU100 and the SU500. Misty Moonlight, Summer Splash. I've got my Dark Pool Party, Real Red combo, Light Poppy Parade, the Petal Pink combo. This one actually belongs over here with this. And then we have the dark Darling Duckling, and then Daffodil Delight and Pecan Pie. Okay, so I'm just going to set these up here. You probably won't be able to color. All right, so as you can see, I did a part of this. So I'm just going to start with my dark Misty Moonlight. And on these little leaves, I'm just going to give this a flick. And then I'm going to fill it in with the light Misty Moonlight. The one thing with coloring on basic beige cardstock is it does bleed a little bit more than thick basic white does. So just be cognizant of that. And I tend to dot when it's just a little bit that I need. Okay, and for that, we're going to start with Dark Darling Duckling. And I'm going to flick on a little bit of color here. I'm barely touching my paper because I don't want this to run and I don't want a lot. I just want some dark spots in there. And then I'm going to move to Daffodil Delight, the dark one. And I'm going to go in and fill in where I didn't get that full, but not to the tips. Just wherever there's any basic beige left, where that dark Daffodil Delight or dark Darling Duckling is. Okay. And then we'll fill the rest of it in with the light Daffodil Delight. Now, for this one, I want to start at the very tip and flick inward so that my color does not run outside the line. If it's going to run, it's going to run toward the center. And again, it's a light touch. Now, I don't know if you can see here when I had colored Moonflower. So in this case, I'm going to turn that and I'm going to color this toward that Summer Splash to push that Summer Splash back into the leaf and get it out of my petal. Okay. And then I'll continue with my petals. It's just a little tip. If you've got a lighter color and you need to flick it back, just take that color out with your lighter color. It'll flick it out. Okay, it works kind of like a color lifter, and they really should be called a color mover. So at the very tip of this is where I used, in the very center, this is where I used my deep SU 100, and I just dabbed on a little bit of color because I wanted to keep it right there in that little center circle. And then I'm going to go with dark pecan pie, and I'm going to finish in that center. And I am just dabbing a little bit. Okay, I don't want that color to spread. Okay, so while we've got the pumpkin pies out, let's go ahead and color our wood. I'm actually going to move this. It's kind of in my way for my little thing here. Okay, so here we're going to start with the dark pecan pie. It's here, and I'm going to dab some color in where the artist put the lines. And then where she didn't put them, and I think I want some dark, I'm going to add a little bit there. And again, just dabbing in. And then I'm going to put a little bit of dark around the center cut of the wood, the outside wood here, the trunk. And then we'll fill that in with a little bit of light pecan pie. Okay. And again, dabbing. I don't want that to go outside. Okay, let me catch up with comments here for a minute. And then for the inner part of the tree trunk here, I'm going to go back here where the artist put some lines. And again, I'm using the dark pecan pie. I'm just going to put a little bit there. Some of those apples where there would be a shadow. I'm going to take that medium natural tone SU 500 and I'm going to fill in the apple slice or the wood slice here. And that's just going to brighten that up a bit, make it a little bit lighter than the rest of it as that slice would be. Okay, so that is all of those. Let's get these out of the way and then we're going to bring in light petal pink here, or not light petal pink, but light and dark petal pink. And I'm going to take dark petal pink, and this is going to go on our vase. And again, I'm going where the artist put their lines, and then where there would be shadows underneath this leaf. Okay, so I'm just going to flick in some of that color, and then just a tiny bit at the bottom there. And then we'll fill that in with the light petal pink. Go over that dark a bit just to blend that. I'm going to work this in, and I'm going to leave just a little bit of a shine area there. Okay, so there's our vase. And then for our leaves, we're using Summer Splash and Dark Pool Party. So I'm going to start with my light Summer Splash. And I'm going to color most of the leaf, but I'm going to leave some spots where I want the pool party to be. So again, this is one of those I'm kind of just dabbing on the color. Be careful around the petals. And that petal looks like I missed it. So let's go back with the, well, no, where, oh, there it is. I was going to say, where'd that disappear to? Okay. And then dab that on. And finally, we have this leaf over here. All right. Now I'm going to go back with the dark Summer Splash. And I'm just going to dab along the centers here and where it overlaps the leaf. And I'm staying out of where I left those open spots. And finally, I'm going to go back with the dark Pool Party and flick in toward the center any spots that I did not already fill. Okay, there we go. And then we just have our apple left here, and for that, I'm, wait a minute, yeah, we're going to start with dark real red. And again, I'm going to go where the artist has the lines and where the apple overlaps this one. Just flicking in a little bit of color where the artist put those lines. And then I'm going to go back with my light real red. And I'm going to go kind of around and overlap with the dark real red I just put in, just to blend those. I don't want to get too crazy though, because I don't want that to bleed out. Okay. And finally, I'm going to finish that up with Light Poppy Parade and go into where I had colored the light real red to blend. And I'm going to be very careful around the stem here. Okay. And then we're going to grab that dark pecan pie again. And dab in that stem. Okay. And see a little spot here where I should have a little bit of the dark. There we go. Clean that up. And there is our image. Okay. So that is all of our coloring. And to add a little bit more interest, yes, you guessed it, we're bringing in our Wink of Stella. I'm going to put a little bit here on the sunflowers. Not trying to color in the whole thing. And then where the artist lines are on the apples, I'm going to add just a little bit of shine and glitz right there. Now you probably can't see that on camera, but it adds just a little bit of interest. Okay, so we are ready for our pieces here. So we've got our early espresso card base. We have our Country Woods paper. Let's go ahead and add this on. Again, that was 4 by 5.5. And scored in the center at 4.25. I'm going to open that up so I just find I can put it on easier. If I do that, I can get it centered a little bit better. And this one's a little bit tricky with the wood. Okay, so we've got that. So now it's time for you to decide. Do we put this down plain with no borders, or do we add a petal pink border here, and we can use either the dark or the light side? Okay, so go ahead. Thank you, Tracy. Coloring is one of my favorite things. I just love to see how they turn out, and I love seeing what kinds of colors I can mix together. Okay, so what do you think? Go ahead and put in the comments whether you'd like a petal pink border or no border at all. Okay, the light petal pink, Matt. Okay. Anybody else want to weigh in on that before we proceed? I'll give you just a couple seconds here. In the meantime, I'm going to bring in a piece of linen thread that I've tied into a bow. And we're going to go ahead and add this to a glue dot. Scrunch that up. And I'm going to put that right here. All right, so we're going to go with the light petal pink since that's what I see. Let's go ahead and add this. I'm going to add that with liquid glue so I have some slide time to get that right in such a small little border that I've made. And this piece is by 4 7/8. 4 3/8 by 4 7/8. Okay, so let's add this on. Try to get that centered up. That gives me just a nice, about a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. This is why I used the liquid glue, so I could just slide that. It's not wanting to slide where I want it to slide. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then I'm going to take this and stamp and seal. We'll add this to our card, like so. Okay. I think we're about good there. Okay, so now we need a sentiment. And this is where more messages comes in. Whoops. So this is that more messages stamp. As I said, it's just one single stamp. So we're going to take a piece of basic beige, which I forgot to cut. Okay, let's just grab a piece. This one hopefully will work. I think this is a quarter sheet. And here, like so. Okay. And then we're going to take our